Welcome to Sacred Earth Journey Roundtable. We are recording to you today from Witch's Brew Coffee House in New Orleans, Louisiana. I think it's also known as Mid City. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're in Mid City, yeah.
And it's on Canal Street.
Yes,
I
that's
got it right, on Canal
correct.
Street. Little secret, we actually recorded yesterday.
We did.
And she had her precious little one with her, as she did such a good job. But just to protect identities of little ones, we are re-recording today. I have with me a very special guest, Dionne the Divine. And before I arrived to New Orleans, I was very interested in speaking to people who represent the various cultures of New Orleans. And when I thought back to my childhood going through the quarter and all the things, palm readers, tarot readers, psychics, all the things were very much a part of the culture. And so I thought to myself, I have to have someone on the show from this culture to just share more about it. And I want to just preempt this because there may be some viewers who a couple of things might trigger some things. When I say that we're at Witch's Brew Coffee House, or when I'm sitting with a tarot reader or someone who practices divination, you're going to have all these thoughts and all these assumptions and preconceived ideas, maybe fears or curiosity. Who knows? What I want to invite you to do is just sit back, get rid of all of the propaganda, all the social media talk, all the things you've been taught to believe about the culture, and just listen to Dionne, the human being. So, with that said, Dionne, if you would just introduce yourself the way that you would to.
Okay, so thank you so much for that introduction yourself.
Absolutely.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dionne. I go by Dionne the Divine, and I have for quite a while now. I am the owner and operator of Priestess of Color LLC, and it's a business in which I kind of showcase my own talents. It's really falls into the category of like art and entertainment. So not only am I someone who specializes in divination, root work, conjure, hoodoo, whatever you want to call it, I also do portraits and I draw people, and I really especially love live drawings. I've actually done a session or two where I've given a reading and then I've gone and drawn them afterwards so they can have a
Are you going to do a portrait of me?
If I had my materials, I would.
Oh, snap.
I know. I mean, an artist / I'm like, if you're really a psychic, then you can just read anything at any point. Like, if you can really be a psychic. But I get that kind of from my dad, because he's like, if you're really an artist, you can just really draw anything. And I'm like, how could you say that as someone, as a man who can't draw?
No, she just called you out, Dad.
Yeah, just called him out. Because they'll be like, well, what do you mean you don't draw dogs, or you don't like to draw men? Like, if you could draw, then you can draw. And I'm like, you're right. If I can draw, I can draw. I do have preferences, though, right?
Hey, you're the artist.
Yeah, I'm the artist, and it's funny because even though I do spiritual work and that's my bread and butter, and I love it so much, it's a role I take on as a spiritual advisor, as a spiritual practitioner. I also would always describe myself as an artist first.
Okay.
And sometimes people are like, oh, well, I don't see you drawing or doing this as an artist. And I'm like, no, I'm an artist first, and I'm an artist and always,
yeah.
you know?
Okay, cool.
And I feel like that kind of informs how I go about my practice. So, yeah.
All right, I'm so excited. And you brought up a word that we were talking about yesterday, but I'm going to hold off. I just want to make sure we're going to revisit the term hoodoo.
Yes.
And we'll get to that eventually. But divination, tarot card reading, palm reading.
Yes. Tea leaf reading.
What?
I read tea leaves.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Oh.
And then there was another word yesterday about the bone.
The cowrie shell reading.
Yeah.
So I do cowrie shell readings, which is something that's a bit more specific to traditions of the African diaspora. But I also osteomancy, I think is the word you're
That
talking
was the
about.
one. Yeah.
Osteomancy,
Yeah.
if I'm pronouncing it right, is the practice of reading bones or using bones in divination. And
Yeah.
fun fact: the owner of Witch's Brew, she's an archaeologist.
She told me this yesterday.
Yeah, and so I was telling her, I was like, man, I want to get into bone reading, but I just don't know how to deal with bones. Or we were just like having a casual conversation about bones, as one does at Witch's Brew. And she's like, oh, I just have this whole bag of bones from when I used to do work here and there. Like, you want some bones? And I was like, don't entice me with a good time. Like, please do actually tempt me with a good time. But I ended up going through it, and I have a picture of my daughter. She was with me while we were going through the bones. And she picked up a vertebrae. It must have been like a deer vertebrae or something. And she was going zoom like an airplane. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
Not quite what that's for, but I'm glad you're comfortable.
Right, yeah.
And these bones are clean, old, like not anything that would get her sick, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was really awesome.
So when we use these phrases and these terms, because like I know for me personally, coming from like kind of far right evangelical Christian community, we're taught to believe and understand certain perspectives and meanings of divination, of palm reading, and just the whole really industry, the whole practice of all of this, and a very negative connotation, and maybe even almost like fear, right? And so what is like one of the first and biggest misconceptions people often have about the industry, number one, and then does that affect how they treat you when they find out what it is you do?
Yeah, I feel like I have a few answers to that, because of course I would. I'm like, I do this full time. People always ask me, they're like, so what else do you do? And I'm like, well, I do this, and then sometimes I do that, which is also this. But when it comes to like the biggest misconception for the industry, I think that even though earlier I said how my business is filed under art and entertainment, and I am an artist, so I'll take it. They think that it's entertainment, right? That getting a psychic reading is for entertainment purposes only, or that it's like a party trick. Oftentimes people will want to do it just because it's an experience, or they want to like stick their fingers in it. They think it's taboo, or sometimes that's the reason why people won't interact with it, right? But to me, or for me, I can't speak for every reader or psychic, but for me, I'm someone that treats it as a very sacred kind of consultation, if you will, or like a spiritual consultation, or
so it's not just a flippant
session.
Activity. It's
it's
are
not
really
just like, oh,
committed.
I can just turn out these things. Which I mean, I'm quite good. I can't. I can't just be like, and here you go. You have a card. You have a card. You have a card. I'm going to read everybody up in here, which requires a lot of capacity. But truly, I think the best way to look at divination as a whole is to approach it as something that requires and deserves respect, and is something that's very valuable. I mean, this is one of the oldest jobs in humanity, like on the planet. Being the medicine woman, being the healer, being the shaman, and people historically, and we're thinking ancient times, you go to the oracle so that you can receive insight or clarity on something, right? You go to the oracle, or the psychic, if you will, the healer, for them to use whatever means that they have, or whatever tools that they use in their traditions to connect to source, or spirit, God, the universe, whatever again you want to call it, so that they can help diagnose, they can give you that insight on whatever is going on with you, give you the clarity where you may not be able to access it on your own. People also, the misconception that comes with reading, people think that I am here to give them like the weather, to tell them that it's going to rain. Not even the meteorologist is correct about those things.
She's not wrong about that,
right? Especially in New Orleans. Okay, I'm like, how do y'all keep a job? But
like the old man with the arthritis is more accurate than the weatherman. So
okay, all up in the air pressure. And that's another thing. It's like being connected to the body is so important when it comes to divination, and grounding is also important. But it's not that reading is not for predictive purposes,
Okay.
or that it can't tell the future or forecast it. One of the best or easier ways to look at and understand the process of divination is pattern recognition. It's something that involves like the collective subconscious, if you will. That's like a, is it Jungian or Jungian? How do you pronounce his
Jung?
name? Jung.
Jung.
J-U-N?
Yeah. Young.
Yeah.
Young.
It's a,
Carl Jung.
yeah, going into that kind of terminology. When we think of the collective subconscious, there are images, there are archetypes, there are symbols that have survived time in the human experience. And so it's like, these things are in all of us, and we don't all have to have like a little booklet telling us all the same things about the cards to know, oh, this is what it means. It's like, you know what a mother is, or you have your own idea of a mother is. Right. That's going to inform how you deliver a message. And even in a reading, it's important, so important to like kind of remove yourself from ego and bias. Because even though you might have a certain thing that you want to say, or a certain way you would respond to circumstances or different people coming up in readings, you know, it's important to just interpret, right? Like an interpreter is not going to like sugarcoat whatever the other person is saying.
They shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
A good interpreter.
A good interpreter. Because people will always be like, no, just say the thing. And I'm like, it's not that I'm pausing to find the nice way to tell you. I'm pausing to find the most accurate way to deliver it, right? Because there are different words I could use, or I could be like lousy, or I could be lazy in how I interpret, and then maybe that would not convey the message appropriately. So
that's insightful. And I feel like pattern recognition, not everyone is good at it, but like I will say that like I know that pattern recognition for me is huge. I was having this conversation with my daddy not too long ago, and with another dear friend of mine, and as long as I can remember, like I don't know how to describe it. I speak a language of patterns, and like I've just always seen, and like when people speak, like I actually see kind of images in my mind. And when I see events, and like I was used to work in counterterrorism, and I was really good at this and really good at investigative research because I could pick up on patterns, and I can oftentimes predict how somebody's going to respond or what they're going to say or what they're going to do, because I can pick up. Do you know what I mean? And so it's like the patterns tell a story in my mind. And so I understand where you're coming from.
Right. And you know, some people will be like, oh, you're just like thinking of like pattern recognition, right? And communication. Some people will be totally convinced, whether it's through media or their own experiences, that divination is not actually divination, or like a reading is not actually based in anything, right? Like I'm just pulling things out of my ass, if you will. Yeah. Or that people in general do that, and I can't speak for everybody. It's not me, but
yeah, because like in any industry, there's going to be the ones that are not great and genuine, and then
you can tell who's committed, who's genuine, and you can tell kind of who's in it just like for a quick buck. Or just because there's nothing better for them to do.
Sure.
Right. And what was I going to say? I was going to say something along the lines of, when it comes to pattern recognition, people will think like it's a gimmick and like I'm reading body language or something. And I'm like, no, I mean, those things kind of inform maybe how I might say something to you. Like I can tell like if you come in and you're nervous and you're anxious, I might be even more gentle, right? In how I tell you something. Or it's just like thinking about code switching, right? Depending on the client, if I feel like I can be a certain kind of informal with you, or you might understand certain slang and metaphor, then thankfully I can utilize like the tool of code switching to kind of convey things,
but it is in a way though, because like pattern recognition, it is important when it comes to communication, and it's telling a story in my mind, and you and I are both creators, and I think we're both probably storytellers too. When I say storyteller, I don't mean storyteller as in embellishing. I'm saying as in it's an art form, and it's informative, and it's historical, and there's pertinent information. We like to tell the stories of humanity and things like this. And in that, like when you are watching someone and you're speaking to someone, and this is how I would always know, like in the counterterrorism work, I would know within 30 seconds or less, we can trust this person, we can't trust this person. By the body language, by how they speak.
So much, right?
It's totally
honestly, it's a matter of like, are you paying attention? Like, and it's like, Can you pay attention? I can pay attention.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes though, when it comes to being able to read like body language, and this is outside of like divination and psychic work, I'm like, depending on how you grew up and the household you grew up, sometimes if you're someone who grew up in a busy, crazy kind of household, you're on your toes, you're looking at people harder, right? Because you want to be safe. And that can go into so many different directions. And when I think about people who are very empathetic, right, I'm like, oh, maybe we all have a commonality of trying to keep ourselves safe. So we're just extra observant, right?
Yeah.
But it's important not to lean into like fawn or flight or anything like that. It's like, again, being grounded and knowing those things about yourself, you know, being able to acknowledge it so that you can take care of it or handle it, right?
Yeah.
Because practice makes progress.
Can you tell us, like, just from your perspective, from your understanding and education, can you define the term divination? Because I know in the Christian community, I'm speaking from what I know and from my experience, in the Christian community, there's a definition of divination, but I would like to hear from you and your industry and practice, what you know. How would you define divination? I'm
going to do my best here. Without going into any depth, what is it? You know, dictionaries. Let's see what I can do.
Yeah, on the fifth grade level.
On a fifth grade level.
I'm ignorant. I know nothing.
Divination is the practice of receiving information and insight from a higher channel or source. That's what I would say. From a higher realm or dimension of energy.
I heard you use this word several times yesterday. Source.
Like
I know what source means to me in security, counterterrorism, counterintelligence, and things like this. What to you? What does source mean?
Source.
Yeah.
Source is like a synonym to spirit, which is also a synonym to creator. So if I say, from source, from spirit, it's like from the creator, from all that is and all that ever will be and all that ever was, right? I think of it in this like very cosmic way. So some people will be like the universe. That can be like synonymous with, source. But to me, I'm like, the universe isn't enough. We live in a multiverse.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, okay, when I say creator, I'm like, we're encompassing all of these things, all of the possibilities, all of the realities.
So source is not referencing multiple
not
potential.
Necessarily. One thing I think is better is recently, instead of saying the universe, because I feel like it's too small, I'll be like, the forces that be.
The divine.
The divine. Pretty much. Like anything. And the thing about divine, right, is that when I think of what does it mean to divine or access divine information or divine realms, channels to kind of pull information from or receive information from, really, it is that divinity is something that operates within the energy of love, peace, balance, if you will. And I wouldn't necessarily say that it's like something that's good or bad, right? Overall, I would say it's mostly neutral. It's how information and whatnot is utilized or how it is accessed. Because when I say like when it comes to divination, you can divine from higher energy channels or higher realms, dimensions, what have you. It goes into this like greater understanding of like, what is energy? What is matter? What do we have as a higher point of connection? And so in the spiritual community, and I say spiritual community loosely, it means so much. I would not describe myself as like a new age spiritual person or whatnot, but I'm sure people can like see me through that lens. I would say that you can connect with something higher than yourself, like an ancestor. An ancestor has transitioned and they are operating from a different place in time and space, right? When you connect with them. And that's something that's higher than yourself. But your ancestor does not know everything, even if they can access more information than you. So what's after an ancestor? I would say like a guide. Or sometimes people will use language like ascended masters. Like, for example, Jesus is an ascended master. Jesus is also in a way, an ancestor,
So
right?
is it almost equivalent to like the phrase prophet?
um, maybe because
Okay.
like think of like Buddha. Buddha is an
Mhm.
ascended master, if you
Okay.
will,
Okay.
right? So that can be a guide for
Okay.
you, and so that the energy of Buddha or the energy of Jesus would know more than maybe a single ancestor who
Okay.
still has a little bit of like ego and humanness
Mm.
attached to them, right? And
Okay.
not a higher level. And then maybe after that, you would think of like angels,
Yeah.
or like some people might be like, oh, angels and demons or whatever, but
Mm.
angels were angels first.
Right. Well, and yesterday we were talking a little bit about our shared history of Roman Catholicism.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, so from my knowledge in the Christian community, divination, if I recall correctly, is communicating with the dead, with the deceased. And it's looked upon in a very negative light. You should not be doing this. This is a sin, and all the things. When I think about Catholicism, and this is one of the, I was taught to pray to the saints, right, and to
Let me tell you.
ask the saints to intercede for us or to help us find things, and da da da. Is this not a form of divination?
I would say, to me personally, thinking of like the different contexts that we have in it, I would consider that closer to working with a guide or working with, like, to me that falls under ancestral veneration. Like these saints were real people, right? And even if they're not related to you through blood, you're calling upon a human from an older point in time, right?
Yeah.
Or the energy of that person. So thinking again of like, there's levels to it. You have like your grandma, your cousins, your mom, them. Then you have that you can tap into and have as like people around you in the spirit world to give you a bit of security there when you're accessing like your higher self, if you will, right? And then so the saints, I love Saint Anthony. Me and Saint Anthony, we like this. We're like this.
I know my mom used to pray to the saints. She's
my grandma
passed now, peace be upon her, but
both of my grandmas actually, and one of them wasn't even Catholic. And she would still pull up the saints, and I love me a little bit of Catholicism. Like I say, I'm culturally Catholic. Being in Louisiana, being a Black person, especially from Louisiana, I'm like, aren't we all either Catholic or Baptist? And on both sides of my family, I'm like, I'm both. Obviously, there's more out there. New Orleans is the kind of place, Louisiana is the kind of place where I feel like there's a church on every corner. You cannot escape the fact that there's a church on every corner, and nothing's wrong with that, but it lets you know that how important faith is to the people here. And I think in my journey growing up in this like Christian perspective and this Catholic perspective also, that as a young person, I've kind of deconstructed in a weird kind of way.
As an old person, that's what I've been going through.
Right, and it's like, you kind of deconstruct something that really even wasn't constructed, but it's all around me and all this other stuff. And so it's like really having to figure out like, okay, this doesn't resonate with me. And even if I can't put a word to it or explain it as this young little kid, I just know that there is something different that resonates with me, right? And so that's a lot of how I kind of got here. Like, this is something I've been pondering, what is the nature of the universe,
and I think there's like two categories of people. I think there are the people who really just don't think deeply philosophically, and I so often wish I could be like that. I think there's just a bliss to it, but
the ignorance is bliss.
I'm not that person, and I go very deep to the point where I'm like on the edge of my mental capability, and it's like it can be frustrating. But like I've really you talked about the deconstruction, and there's actually an article on my website at sacredarkjourney.com where I talk about. I think there's multiple lights, or I can't remember what it's called. Maybe that's not it. I'll put the link in the description. Wow, my hand just got really big. Did you see that? Whoa. But, I like it. But the article talks about how religion doesn't define the divine. The divine defines the divine, the creator. And, religion is more a description of humanity's experiences, encounters, understanding, worship and prayer style, and interactions with the divine.
Right. And honestly, Well, thinking of that, I even think of how historically religion has been like the political context. Thinking of like theocracies, right?
Right.
So it's like, how should people interact and be with each other?
Yeah.
Because when you look at parts of the Bible, I have not read the Bible a lot at all, really. But but I know there are parts of the Bible that are just like rules that kind of help you govern how
Yeah.
you go in your day to day. What do you eat? What do you not
Mhm.
eat? How should you treat your your neighbor?
Mhm.
So I'm thinking of like the commandments, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like that makes sense.
Yeah.
And there are religions that are like very, very old, which
Mhm.
I'm always like, ooh, let me like just get a little bite.
Yeah.
And then there are religions that are new that are also
Yep.
so wonderful. Like I remember
I
your
think-
video about the Sikh tradition. Is that how
Yes,
you
Sikh,
pronounce it?
Sikhism. Mhm.
And he was like, okay, we're a newer religion, like we're new kids on the block, but you know, this is how we do, this is how we operate. And I was like, oh, I can dig it, I like it.
Yeah.
And I love how they're like, you know, it's and I learned this from your video, because independently would I have sought this out? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was curious, so I let my curiosity lead the way, and I'm thankful for it, because the way they spoke about religion, they're like, well, there isn't a bad religion, but if there is a religion that's telling you that other religions are bad, you should be suspicious.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing that I'm starting to discover, is that maybe, you know, there really seems to be some beauty in a lot of the religions. And it's like, I don't know that any, and I'm going to get so much hate. It's okay. I don't know that, you know, we get so dogmatic and we're like, this religion is the answer. This religion has all the answers. It's absolute 100% the truth, and da-da-da. And now I'm like, I just lost respect for you if you just claim that, because none of us have 100% absolute truth about the divine, about creation, about the end, and, you know, or even if there is an end, maybe there's not. Like, there could be multilinear exist. See, now I'm going deeper,
but because it that's how it is, you know.
Yeah.
It's like it keeps going and it keeps going. I don't know if you ever heard of like what hopefully I'm not pronouncing it wrong, Ouroboros.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the term Ouroboros?
Yeah.
Like the snake that eats itself.
Yes.
It makes me think like it just keeps going and it keeps
going.
So it's like, where do you catch it?
Let me ask you this, because you said something earlier that made me think. I think, and I've heard this, that outsiders who don't understand the industry and all the things in the culture. And I used to believe this myself, that anybody who's doing the palm reading, the divination, all the things, you're a witch.
Interesting.
Okay, please go there.
Okay, so just with the word witch,
and is that even bad? Is it negative? Is it indifferent? Like,
I would say it's easy to say that someone's a witch, or it's easy to use that language. And when I think of the historical context and etymology of the word witch, it's usually a word that's used to ostracize.
Yeah.
And it's like a word of otherness, because you can call the medicine woman in a village a witch, but she's just the woman who knows medicine, like what the plants do, how things can heal.
Yeah.
And so are they automatically a witch? No, not quite. And like there are people who would call what I do witchcraft, like when it comes to root work and hoodoo. But we wouldn't necessarily use that language, because we're more so, we're root workers, so we work with roots, nature, you know, all of these different plants.
Which I find fascinating. And
right? I love
really,
a nature-based tradition.
You know, during these last 4 to 5 years, is I've just really been breaking out of the box of religion, and I feel closer to God or the divine now more than I ever have. I still pray, I still meditate, I still see things coming to fruition as a result of the prayers and things like this. But I've discovered, even looking back before these last 4 to 5 years, I've always felt closest to the divine when I'm in the nature. And especially like when the breeze blows and I can hear the leaves, I can see the leaves rustling and the things, and I'm like, wow. Or if I'm standing at the top of a mountain in Colorado and looking down in the valley, and I'm like, wow, I'm so tiny and this is incredible. Or standing at the edge of the ocean when a hurricane's coming in. I don't mean like the actual, but like, you know, pre eye of the hurricane, and just seeing the enormity of the waves and how the waves know to stop at the, you know, where they stop, and just all the things. It's like this whole, everything it's cyclical, it's interactive, it's connected, and it's, you know what I mean?
That's one of like my favorite things about, I guess, this kind of work, is being someone that's like philosophical. Wait, let me break down the lore actually. So, in getting into this and who I am today, as a kid, when I was curious, I'm like, oh, what is the nature of the universe?
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the night or at any point in the evening, there'd be like these science documentaries about the cosmos, right?
Okay,
And
yeah.
about the solar system. So I'd watch those and I'd be like, I'm going to be a theoretical physicist. And then one day in middle school, I learned, oh, I have to do math. And then I was like,
I hate
okay,
math.
I'm going to be a philosopher. And so I was like looking at scholarships for philosophy, which is kind of hard to find. But but I was doing it anyway and I was figuring it out. I was like, I'm going to be an official philosopher, not an armchair philosopher. You can't clock me. And then I was like, oh, that's a lot of reading and writing. But in philosophy, there are 6 branches, and 2 of them, one of them is metaphysics,
Okay.
and one of them is art or aesthetics. And those are the 2 things that I love the most, right? That I've kind of built my whole life around because it's just a part of my existence. But then it's funny because now I kind of joke that like I do applied metaphysics, as in I do spiritual work. Right?
Okay.
And I do it in a way where it's like
I love
practical
coining
magic
new words
or
and
ritual
phrases.
work. Right? And I'm like, that's not a technical term. It's like, you know, there's physics.
Yeah.
And then there's applied physics. Physics, like theoretical physics, doing the math for the universe and the planets and stuff. But then there's engineering, which is applied physics. And so I'm like, applied metaphysics is me like, you know, doing practical magic and ritual and, you know, working with the forces that be.
Yeah.
And so there's that. You were talking, and I can't remember exactly what it was that made me go down that tangent, but it was important for me to give that context.
It was about the reference of being a witch.
Oh, the reference of being a witch.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing is like, witch is to me, too small of a term.
Okay.
But are these people witches? You gotta ask them. The only way you will know is if you ask them, and they will tell you what they are. Okay. Right? And when they tell you who they are or what they are, believe them, you know? Some people will be like, I'm a 5th generation this, or my family's been doing this for centuries, or I'm committed to this kind of practice, and this is what I believe in. And I'm like, you know, I feel like people change and develop, and so as they grow in their traditions, or as they grow in their theology or whatever their faith is, let them figure it out. I think that's what we all come to Earth for, is to figure it out. It's a big school, and we're just a bunch of big kids.
Oh my gosh, so much. So yesterday we were talking a little bit about the word hoodoo, and we had a little bit of fun with it. And then you were describing how it's maybe a cross between voodoo and something else, and it's more of like a physical map of the medical file. Do you remember?
We were talking about the voodoo dolls, right? And kind of like, how does that work? So hoodoo. You may have heard it. You may have not heard it. I don't think anyone could give the same definition on it.
Who knew hoodoo?
Right. But when it comes to, before we could even get into like talking about the voodoo dolls, hoodoo is a faith-based expression of a complex tradition in the African diaspora that is specific to America. That was a lot of words, and I did my best to try and encompass everything in there. But hoodoo is a closed practice because it is through ancestral veneration, and it's like, well, you have to be a part of the lineage, right? It's not
I cannot practice hoodoo.
No,
got you.
But you could practice like a distant cousin of hoodoo, like maybe some Appalachian. You know, well, I don't know if you're Appalachian or have any. But you know, like anything that is a nature-based tradition.
Okay.
So there are a lot of nature-based traditions and different lineages and different ancestries. But hoodoo is specific to America, like the United States of America. Okay. Hoodoo is specific to Black people of African descent, particularly descendants of enslaved individuals. And so it kind of rose from that context, and it was a tool of liberation, really. And so it's like a way to connect with the divine in your own way, despite whatever you're having to assimilate to because of the circumstances. Got you. Okay. And connect with the divine, connect with nature, because nature is divine. When you were talking about that, I was like, yep, you're speaking my language. Because I'm like, take me to the ocean, take me to the hills. And specifically when you had mentioned the wind, that's an old style of divination.
Okay.
So, and I know in Greece, in other parts of the world probably too, the oracles would sit and they would listen to how the wind would blow in the trees, and that would be a part of the insight or the information that they would give you.
This is a part of Far East. I don't know why we call it Far East and all the things. We act as if we're the compass of the earth, but
I have a friend who's always she's from the area that we refer to as the Middle East, and she's this excellent scholar. I love her so much. If you see this,
you have to tag her,
right? She's like the middle of the east of what?
Yeah, exactly this. Yeah. So there are some Asian cultures that practice what you're talking about, and then also same with indigenous people groups that were on this land before it became America, or they highly regard the wind and things. So
yeah, and I think that's really important. So recently actually I did a reading outdoors, and I kind of prefer, like, if I'm meeting someone for a private reading, like, let's meet at the park or let's go in nature, because the outside elements of, like, we could be talking about being in love in your reading, and all of a sudden someone will walk past blasting a love song with like something in their pocket, like their phone in their pocket, or we'll say something about an ancestor might come up, and then the wind will blow really hard right in that moment. Or, the way that things will happen, I'm like, you can't orchestrate it. It's something that I cannot control nature and the things outside of us, right? We can only really control here, but being able to observe and witness and honor. Ooh. Take me there.
I don't see how we can deny that. I'll keep those thoughts to myself, but it's nature itself is incredibly intuitive, indicative, representative. I mean, it's just like, I don't know how, and maybe I'm not articulating my thoughts super clearly, but I don't know how else to, there's something there.
Right. And because there's that something there, I'm so enamored almost. Not infatuated. Right. Have a healthy love and respect for all of the different traditions, or how people have, uplifted these aspects of nature and how they work with it,
right?
And what archetypes they take up, maybe as goddesses or deities or whatnot, or like how they find themselves connecting, blah blah blah. It's just a really beautiful thing. And then going back to like defining hoodoo before we get into other parts of it, hoodoo is so incredible and so amazing. And the thing is that it's different by region. Like, for example, there's hoodoo that comes from like the Gullah Geechee region in like the Carolinas and Georgia a little bit.
Okay.
And so those folks have different, not systems, right? Because it's a living tradition. It's not something that has a book of reference. It's just very
organic. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty organic. It's unique to each individual and unique to each region. And I feel like that's important to mention, because like what they're doing up there, completely different, but completely perfect for whatever it is that they need or require with what they have, blah, blah, blah. And then there's like Appalachia. And the hoodoo that's happening up there in those woods, that's a little different. But then we bring it down south, like to a place like Louisiana where I'm at, and we have like what we call New Orleans voodoo, really. And so it feels a little bit like it's less under the hoodoo umbrella. And so even in all of my years in the work that I do here, I'm like, well, is root work the right word? Is conjure the right word? Because those words also start to become or take up their own meaning within like the diaspora, the African diaspora here. And it's so funny. But at the end of the day, when I think of like hoodoo, like not only is hoodoo something you practice, but hoodoo is something that you are. So if you're you can be a hoodoo. Like I'm someone who can say, oh yeah, I'm a hoodoo, like, and I do hoodoo. Some people might refer to people in hoodoo as witch doctors, or a lot of the time they'll be like doctor, medicine man, medicine woman. So it's
almost like I'm Jewish, but I practice Judaism, or I'm Jewish, but I don't practice Judaism. So it's almost similar to this.
Something like that. So it's not something that everyone taps into just because it's there. But there are people who definitely get into it. Like a lot of the times what you'll see, like I saw someone earlier describe what they do as like Hoodoo Baptist work. And it's because the way that their practice work, the intersectionality is that they have a background and a connection to Christianity and the culture of being
So
Baptist.
they're kind of meshing.
Yeah, so it's like meshing, and a lot of people will reference like, oh, what has Native American influences, European influences, and African influences, all these different things. And I think that's also kind of what makes Hoodoo really special. Because even when you think of the African American experience, it's unlike any other Black experience in the world, right? Or what's going on with other folks, and it's like we really just kind of kept what we could, and you know, it's thinking of like gumbo, right? It's like whatever makes it taste good, whatever makes it work.
You are the second guest to refer to stew or gumbo and the importance. One of my previous guests, John Jackson, former Army Ranger, he is the founder and developer of Comfort Farms in Georgia.
Okay.
And one of the things he stated on the show is he said, respect the flavors. And then he also said, together our differences make us extraordinary. And he said, you can't dilute the stew. Like you can't, if every ingredient in the stew was the same flavor, you don't have a stew.
Yeah.
You know, you have kind of like a cesspool.
Right. It's giving out.
There's no flavor.
Right.
You know, so.
And even thinking like, of gumbo, right? Like gumbo is an African word that means like okra. And okra is the main component of gumbo.
I did not know this.
And there are so many interesting things. It's interesting like through Hoodoo to see what has survived such a terrifying ancestral experience, right? Just thinking of what slavery was like when people were experiencing that and what it was like to be an enslaved person in the Americas. But it's like what survived from the homeland and what survived in the culture of how we exist with each other. Like the drumming, will you be here? Oh no, Sunday already passed, didn't it?
I don't know what to say.
I was gonna say, I think yesterday I told you, I was like, there's several different calendars that on Earth that we're all using. And I'm like, so does it really matter? Like, is today really Tuesday to who?
I think it's Wednesday. I think we're on Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, you know, today's Wednesday. There's this joke I saw and I love it so much. It's like, so you don't believe in astrology, but you believe that today's Thursday, or you believe that it's 3 p.m.?
This is
like,
too
are
funny.
you shitting me? Whoa.
It's also too like when people will refer to the date and they're like, I don't believe in God, and they're like, well, you literally are practicing your dates according to the Gregorian calendar, you know, or whatever.
Right.
And it's like
if you want to get into it, let's get into it.
Yeah,
you know? It's funny.
There's so many crossovers, but you know, when you were talking just a minute ago about just the hoodoo and just the variations in different things and, you know, things meshing. And then we were talking about the Catholicism and then being in New Orleans and Catholicism. And I'm like, there are so many varying practices even within Catholicism. And especially here, there seems to be an intertwining of Catholicism. And I don't know if you want to call it New Ageism or mysticism. Or there's definitely some crossovers that are especially deeper here. And I don't know what that is. I don't know why is it. I
might have a word for it.
Go for it.
So, again, going back to this, you can't escape the historical context of the Americas and everything that it is, but it really does inform it. So, in different traditions, I'm going to say different ethnic traditions, particularly, you already had like figures that you may have worshipped or connected with, right? Like goddesses, deities, whatever. Catholicism has these saints, right? And a word that is often used is syncretism. Syncretism
I've heard,
is when, like, for example, I could say, I love me some St. Anthony, but I also know that depending on where you're looking at it from or what traditions you could be connecting it with, St. Anthony is a crossroads. It's syncretized with the crossroads deity, if you will. And so, I love me some St. Anthony. He's going to help me find things. But I know that, like, historically, when it comes to syncretism, right, and thinking of the historical context, it's like, yes, St. Anthony is what it is going to be on the surface, so I can survive and talk about it in the plain and open and not be ostracized or beaten
Oh,
or,
I see where you're going. Okay.
killed or whatever. But I know, and the people that know that I'm really referring to this crossroads energy.
Oh, okay.
Which, like, some people will talk about, like, Dr. Legba, or not Dr. Legba, Papa Legba, my bad. I know what I'm talking about, y'all. Slip of the tongue.
She's doing really good.
But in New Orleans, or like, have you ever seen American Horror Story?
No.
Wait,
what is it?
American Horror Story? It's like a whole
No.
series. It's got to be your thing to even be in it. But they had a New Orleans season,
Okay.
where they came to New Orleans and used like different myths to create a story for their show. And it was something, but people talked about how they represented one of the figures in like this hoodoo African tradition. And Papa Legba is one of them, and he's like a deity or an energy that presides over the crossroads. Crossroads being like, being at a street that is intersectional, but also crossroads of life, like life and death is at a crossroads. Being old and young is at a crossroads. There's so many different, like, just wearing a cross. So
basically transitioning.
Yeah,
you're at a point of transition,
like
is what you're saying.
Transition. Okay. And pathways and opening doors and closing them.
Got you.
Anyway, in American Horror Story, they were like, y'all just kind of threw something together. Did y'all even do the research? What was that? That was, and it's a piece of work. They also kind of, just threw stuff together when it came to like other historical figures in the city. Okay. But people will say what they will say. Anyway, it's really interesting because I could be talking about a saint, but I could also be talking about this figure that is actually close and connected to my heart. But I think over time, the blending of it has become so smooth that some people are like, well, no, I just take
almost
all
like
of it.
Acceptable. Yeah. Okay.
Or not even just digestible or acceptable, but it's like, I know someone who, and she's a wonderful, incredible figure here in the city. She's so amazing. I adore her. She is very much Catholic, which in New Orleans, like, being a Black Catholic, there's like a whole thing about being a Black Catholic and a whole history to it that's so incredible and amazing and rich. And then she's also a priestess of Ifa, and Ifa is this very old African tradition. Oh, wow. And it's like those two things don't. People maybe wouldn't be like, oh, you can be both of those things, but you can be, because they're
as humans, I feel like we're always trying to put people in these restrictive boxes, and it's like, who are you? Like, why can't this and this be true? Right. Multiple things can carry truth at the same time.
Right. And, it's the intersectionality of it all. Because again, thinking of like, one, there's always like historical context, but then there's like individual expression and or understanding, right?
And experience and perspective and all the things,
And then one thing I really love to tell people, especially when it comes to readings, right? I'm always like, choose your reader wisely, because your reader is going to affect how your message comes through, or if it comes through at all. Okay. Right? Because if you're a silly goose and you're just picking someone just to be funny, good luck, or whatever comes out, or message gets
because the things you're hearing will affect you in some regard. However much you allow it.
Some people really don't know what they're doing, or they can only, what I tell people also is like, you can only meet someone as deeply as you have met yourself, right? So if you have a reader who has maybe not deeply met themselves, they can only meet you so far. Thinking of like capacity and all of that. So, I mean, I could go on forever. We could have this conversation for 3 days.
What is and before we forget, I want to go back and revisit yesterday, because you did a thing with me where we picked the cards, and we'll revisit that towards the end. What is maybe the worst way someone can show up to you as an individual who practices what you practice? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say the worst way that someone could show up is in a way that is closed-minded or fear-based. And it's like, what you seek you will find. Like, if you are seeking something that is going to scare you, you might be scared.
Wow. There's a lot of intelligence in that.
Well, thank you. But what you look for looks for you also, or what you search for searches for you. So it's that kind of thing. So yeah, if you come in closed minded, it's not my obligation. Oh, sorry, it's it's not my obligation to convince you that what I'm doing is real. You will know that what I'm doing is real when we sit and when we connect and when we experience whatever comes through in your session.
Yeah.
I am not here to be like, oh, I'm right all the time and this, that. And even if I am, that's not what I am here to do. I'm here to hold space. As someone who does work as a spiritual advisor, I am here to help ground you in the insight and clarity that is available to you that you may not be able to see. Sometimes I'll describe a reading as like organizing someone's psyche. You don't tell me anything. I don't, not that I don't care, but it's like, I want a blank canvas to work with. So don't tell me anything. Like if you're just a regular client and we've been going through the motions, like sure, I'll know stuff.
Yeah.
But there's still so much more to look at.
Yeah.
Remind me the question before I get to
just the worst way someone can show up with, who doesn't know much.
Either there's the open-mindedness, there's the
and when I say show up, I don't necessarily mean coming for a session. I mean just
just
crossing
like
paths
paths.
like, and I'm saying like with anyone, like just
worst way they can show up is just being closed-minded. I think open-mindedness is really helpful. Just like have no expectations, walk into it without an attachment to outcome, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen, and I think that's the most beautiful part about divination, which is why it's interpreting. I'm not here with a set story that I've made up to tell you based off of, I don't know, your body language or whatever. I'm here just as it comes out in due time, saying what's supposed to be said. And then when it comes to being curious, letting your heart,
very important.
Being curiosity led or leading with curiosity is going to be so important, because that's a love language. Being curious about something shows that you love and you care about it, instead of just like saying that this is this and blah 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 blah. So just not acting from a place of ignorance is so useful. And then the other thing I was gonna say is like being fear based or sitting with a kind of anxiety when it comes to it, because obviously when you don't know something or if something's unknown to you, you only have one like tunnel vision perspective of it. That can be scary. And if you just accept that it has to be scary, then so be it. I'm not sitting here being like, oh, go play with your nearest Ouija board. I wouldn't do that, and I don't. You couldn't find me any day of the week doing that.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
There's a speakeasy I used to work at, and there was literally the way that the decor was on the wall. There was this bright red Ouija board right above my head, and it took me months to know because I did not register it. It did not exist to me until someone pointed it out. They're like, oh, do you ever use that? And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're pointing to this, again, bright red, fire hydrant red Ouija board. And I'm just like, I sure don't. Wow. There's not enough money that you could pay me.
Okay. I might have a question about that in a minute. Right. So, as you were just talking then, so you brought the word up, love.
Yeah.
When you have a client who comes in to see you, and I'm just going to ask questions as if based on what I've heard growing up and all the things. A client comes in and you're going to work with them. Do you have any desire to cause them harm?
No.
Do you have any desire to put a spell on them in a negative way and anything like this?
Honestly, I think that's so funny because I'm like, I could put my energy elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like it would take a lot for me to want to put like a baneful hex or spell on someone or whatever, you could call it. Because I'm like, is it worth my time, or could I just like, I don't know, if you disrespect me, just manifest that money come my way every time you try it. Like, I feel like there's a different way to alchemize that kind of energy, right? But no, I wouldn't harm people. The thing that I do tell people, right, that sometimes there's a little bit of anxiety around, which I get it, is 10 times out of 10, the only thing I can tell you is the truth. Yeah. And the truth is not people's favorite thing. Some people, a lot of people like to pretend that, or not pretend, but some people can't handle the truth, right? And so when I remember you asked me if anyone ever had like a kind of like spectacle of a reaction to a reading, right? Yeah. And I worked at the speakeasy before, and this was maybe in my first 3 months there, and this is a time where I'm like really in reading every day, or every week I'm reading like several dozen people when I go in for a shift, and bless her heart, she was a very sweet person, but she was someone who was curious.
Oh.
And I respect her curiosity. And she not only was curious, but she was skeptical. And I feel like being skeptical
Okay.
also is an expression of curiosity. Skepticism is an expression of curiosity.
But it's almost like you were saying a minute ago. If you show up looking for something fear-based, you're going to find it. So if you show up with skepticism, it's like you've already decided things are gonna go a certain way, maybe.
Yeah, right. So it's like releasing that attachment to outcome, because in her reading, she didn't know what to expect. She didn't know, right? She never sat with me, even if she had sat with other people. But I think she had never had a reading, really. And when she sat with me and I was reading her cards, I think it got too real for her. It got too real for her, and she just asked me to stop reading.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, I will. And she was crying.
Yeah.
Because it hit a little too home. And it's not so much that it was a negative reading. I was trying to make her feel bad, put her in harm's way or anything like that. It's that I was interpreting what was coming up. Yeah. And I like to think that I have a very gentle delivery. Yeah. Or I've been told, I have a very gentle delivery.
And so that's the thing. Like, and I have met like Wiccans and other people who self-identified as a witch of some sort or another. And like I've never been afraid or anything like that. Like sitting here with you yesterday and today, like you were just one of the most gentle, sweetest people. You had to have seen this. Like my sister yesterday, she had her little baby girl, 2-year-old girl with her, and you were just one of the most present, patient, gentlest, gracious mothers I've ever seen. And it was absolutely beautiful. Like every encounter I've had with you so far, I've never been afraid. I've never been like, oh my God, whatever.
And that's another reason why it's so important that you discern the practitioner you want to work with, right?
Okay.
Because we are not all built the same. We don't all have the same experiences or contexts in which we are utilizing to show up. And like when I think of a client, the best thing that a client could show up with is just the intention to receive what they're supposed to receive. Because it's not, while I won't shy away from specific questions, I usually advise people to just stay open for whatever needs to come out. Because you could ask about if the sun is going to rise tomorrow, and I can let you know. I've even had people be like, well, I don't want to know when I'm going to die. Or recently I had a friend ask me, she's like, well, actually, can you tell me like when I'm going to die and how I'm going to die? And I had to like tell her, I was like, look, once I do it, I can't ungive you the information. Like once we find out, we find out.
Squeeze that toothpaste back in.
Right. And then you can't squeeze the toothpaste back in. So it's like, don't come here asking a super loaded question. Yeah. One, I do have enough etiquette and ethics as a reader to one, deny a client. I don't have to service you.
It sounds like you come from a very genuine place of compassion and caring for humanity, for people.
I am that way. I've been accused of being too generous and too soft and too kind, and I understand that because it's important to, when you have a lot of softness to you, have a lot of boundary to you as well. Yeah. And it has been such a learning experience in all of these years, like when it comes to just knowing if I'm being too patient, too kind, too gracious, because some people are, not to say that they're not deserving of it, but when they don't respect it or they try to take advantage of it, it is painful and it does hurt. And it's something that I could see making someone want to stop doing this kind of work. Sure. Also because of the commercialization or the misunderstanding of spiritual practices, and people who do, divination or psychic work. Of course, there's always different levels to it, but ultimately, people don't really see it as something of value, and that's something I'm really committed to changing, because it is something that is, like I said, it's one of the oldest jobs. People always be like, "Oh, prostitution is one of the oldest jobs," There are several, right? There are several things that are very old industries: like, propaganda, prostitution, right? Prophetizing, and prophesizing and all that. But it's like. I love the resurgence of it and how it's coming through now, because there's so many people that do this work and they don't know how to value it. One of the hardest things for me in this industry, if you will, is pricing. Pricing has been so hard for me. I hate pricing things. It's so hard, especially because like it feels so dirty. In a way, but it's also like I have to live. I also have to have like a quality of life and whatever. And I'm caring for this little person. Maybe before I had her, I could have been a bit more blasé or cheeky with it. But I have to be very serious, and I have to ask myself, okay, like what is my value? What is it that I'm offering, and what is my worth? How much do I have to tell people they have to give me in exchange for the work that I'm doing? Because it is a lot of labor. It's a very laborious thing to do spiritual work in the same way that a therapist will experience compassion fatigue. So do I.
Yeah, sure.
Holding space for people is a skill.
Right.
And being able to take ego out of what it is that I'm telling you or in the interpretations that come out is a skill.
Yeah.
And it could look like, oh, I'm just sitting and having a good time. But when I tell you, there have been instances where it's like, depending on like, if people always ask me, they're like, okay, well, do you talk to the dead, right? And that would fall under less to me divination and more so mediumship.
Oh.
So there's like
okay.
an umbrella where a lot of different styles or methods of channeling or divine communication, if you will, can occur. But for me, people would be like, oh yeah, do you channel the dead? Like, I want to talk to my grandpa or something. Actually, I have a friend. I hope she doesn't see this and be like, is she talking about me? And yes, sure. Let's say I'm talking about you. Give me a call.
Have you not called her in a while?
We were on the phone this morning. Okay. Hopefully she knows I'm not talking about her, but people will be like, oh yeah, I want to like talk to my grandma. Can you tell me something about my grandma? And I'm like, well, I feel as though I'm someone who has a natural, or not natural, but I have the capacity to do mediumship and talk with, you know, spirits who have passed on and those energies, but also it's very exhausting. There are some people who can't help it. They just were born with it, right? And I think that everyone is born with psychic ability to some degree, right?
Yeah.
It's just some people are naturally gifted in it or, you know, well practiced in it, have experienced it for a long time. I'm someone who, I don't have any ethical problems with mediumship. Like, it's not something I'm not doing because I don't want to do, but it's not something that I am naturally attuned to. Like, I won't say I was born, you know, hearing spirits. But I'm pretty sure it's because I'm the kind of person that if I did hear a spirit, I'd be spooked. Or not if I did. Like, there have been times where, like, things have come through. And I've been like, okay, that's an experience. I actually had someone tell me, and she's a very gifted practitioner. She referred to herself as the Witch Queen of New Orleans.
Okay.
And she is quite the force. I love her. Most recently, if I'm right, she was in / possibly an advisor for like the movie Sinners.
I don't know. I have not owned a TV in like 14 years, so I'm very oblivious to a lot of the things on the...
I get it because I'm trying to go to like analog. I just got it. I was gifted actually a VCR and DVD player because I'm like, we're going to stop watching things.
She just used a term some of you may not know. VCR is like this rectangular thick, huge
If you don't know what it is and you're watching this, like, stop everything. Go look it up. And I'm so happy about it because I have my vinyl player. I have my radios. Personally, I would not own a TV unless it was like my mom kind of just forced. She was like, you need to.
It was one of the best things that I honestly ever experienced because, like, I don't know. I've missed out on a lot of the sound, a lot of the just noise. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But wait, I do have to tell you, Sinners is a cinematic masterpiece, and it's a feature film. It was in theaters. I don't even know if you could watch it on TV unless you're doing like on demand. Yeah. But great stuff. It's a really great film that encompasses like Southern living and Black experience, and it throws in like the fantasy aspect of vampires. It's very cool. Sinners is very cool.
I will have to check it out. I'm gonna have to watch it during the day.
You know, personally, it's not scary at all. It's more so like thriller and very almost theatrical. There are some things that feel just comedic because like, why would you do that? There's like a musical number in the middle of it and you're just like, what are we doing?
That'll make it better.
Right? But it's also so good. And the girls that get it. If you see Sinners, obviously it's almost like a little cult following, but it's a really great film. And it broke a bunch of box office records, so I'm really happy for it in that way. It's a great depiction actually of like hoodoo and conjure in media. Because it has that accuracy. And going back to the person who called themselves the Witch Queen of New Orleans, right? Forgot why I mentioned her. I'm sure it'll be funny when I go back to watch the video. But she's amazing. She's incredible. She's a force. I met her when I was working at the Speakeasy, and I was like, wow. Oh, I remember now. Yeah. So she asked me, she was like, so do you channel? And I was like, is that not the job to channel? But I know kind of what she meant. Usually when people ask like, oh, do you do mediumship or do you channel? They're asking if you talk with spirits.
Meaning
directly.
Dead people.
Yeah, like dead people. There's
Is
so
that
many different
disrespectful to
kinds of
say it that way?
spirits. Not, I don't think so.
Okay, I don't know.
People have transitioned.
Okay.
I don't know. Is there a PC way to call people
I
dead?
have no idea.
I don't know.
Do they
I haven't
care?
thought about it.
I have no idea.
I don't know. Do they care? It's
Is there
something to think
a
about.
politically correct term for the deceased?
Maybe that is it. The deceased.
I know in the military you say eliminated or exterminated
Oh my god.
because you dehumanize in war.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. You got me. I was like, I need to sip my Damn.
I mean, it's true.
Straight to the point.
It's true. It's that you try to dehumanize when you're in war, so it's easier to do what you have to do.
Right.
So, but I have no idea what the politically correct term of a deceased person would be.
I would always say maybe a loved one. Hopefully it's a loved one that you're trying to reach out to, because otherwise, like, what are you doing? Like, get out their business.
That's one thing that I find really beautiful, like in the Islamic faith, and also I know in like the Italian and the Catholic culture as well, like when they speak of someone who has passed, like in Islam, it's peace be upon him, and then Italian Catholic culture is God rest their soul, or you know what I'm saying? There is very much a reverence for someone who has passed on to whatever is next.
Right, and I think that's also so important because it's even in these structured, organized religions where you can see that there is a level of ancestral veneration, because you're saying peace be upon the soul of this person.
Yeah.
Which it can look different. Like, for example, in Hoodoo or conjure work that I do, altar work is really important. Or shrine altar, like an altar. Like,
altar.
Like
I thought you were saying ultra. Altar. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's the accent. Look, I people have come to me and been like, "Girl, you do not sound like you were from New Orleans," and it hurts and breaks my heart so bad because I'm like, I'm from New Orleans. Like, I'm really from Louisiana. But I've worked in hospitality so long. Also, like, both of my parents are like educators.
Yeah.
So it wasn't gonna fly. Or not, it wasn't gonna fly, but it's just not how my accent manifested.
It's you're you know.
Yeah.
I
think it's probably a little bit of envy because I wish I could turn on or turn off a New Orleans accent. I wish I could say baby the way people in New Orleans say it. I'm like, not all of my aunts, cousins, uncles, and all of this being able to just sound like they're from here because they just do, and me having, I don't know, the equivalent of a transatlantic accent. I'm like,
you're so normal.
Right. I feel like normal SpongeBob, which is just... Anyway, though, getting back to altar work. So, like, for example, in a Catholic church, you have an altar. Right? And the altar is tended to. And you think of an altar, no matter if it's for your higher self, your ancestors, a certain guide or a deity some people will have. You tend to that altar, and it's like a landing spot for the energy of whatever you're calling in or working with. Okay. Right? So I imagine, and that's so crazy, I imagine in a Catholic church, you're having a landing spot for Jesus, right? And God, the Abraham and God, you're like, okay, we were tending to this so that you can come in, and this is your church, this is your glorious space, right? Or like, thinking of me, I have ancestor altars in my home. I have one from a mom's side and one from a dad's side, and they have different vibes, right? Okay. The one from a mom's side, I always, have a little bit of the saints coming up. Thinking of the one I have from my dad's side of the family, I got a radio on that altar. It's one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. Okay. Because I'll just turn the radio on to like a gospel station, and it reminds me of church. On like a Sunday morning, and it's just however you connect. But it's a landing spot for those energies or those spirits that you're wishing to connect with. And just through taking care of the altar, you're like, this is me honoring your memory in my lineage and my legacy and the work that I do. Because sometimes people will put like an author that has passed on their altar, right? Or a friend that has passed. But if you think of someone that you're not related to, it's like, oh, well, I honor and I respect this person for how they've written, and I'm inspired by it. And so I just want to place them there out of respect, right?
I guess it's almost similar to, and if you can't tell, I move around a lot. It's probably have ADD.
I'm like, I'm moving around. I'm coughing, sneezing. I might be a bit congested, but I'm here.
I think it's similar to like, how people are caring for like the grave sites and things like this. But
and that's so important too.
Yeah. I know we're running out of time, but yesterday towards the end, you had asked me to pick 3 cards out of the deck.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you were talking about the deck of cards,
Yeah,
and she knows nothing about me. We just met for the first time yesterday in person. We spoke very briefly through Instagram Messenger, and so you really don't know a whole lot about me. And so I picked 3 cards. The first one I said was Joker, and then I said the Seven of Hearts,
of Spades,
Queen of Spades, and then the Seven of Hearts,
and then the Three.
And then you asked me later, okay, now pick a 4th one, and it was the 3 of Clubs.
Yeah.
Just a little bit about what you shared, if you remember, about those 4 card choices.
Yeah, so just thinking of having you choose the cards. If I don't have my tools out, or someone's like, oh, can I get a reading while I'm picking up from an event or a corporate gig or something, I'm like, just pick a few cards out your head. You know what a playing, everyone mostly knows what a playing card deck is, right? So you did that for me yesterday, and in those cards, the Joker is almost a transliteration of the Fool card in tarot. And so
she just called me a fool.
And you know what? I think you're making it look good. You know? But the Fool,
I
that
prefer
has negative
Joker.
connotations. Right, Joker's great. Okay. How's that song where he's like a joker, a smoker, a midnight toker or something?
I don't know. I need to find this song.
Oh.
Speaking of which, I have a playlist for the Sacred Earth Journey Across America on Spotify. If you want to add music and become a collaborator, which you're going to now because you're going to add the song, I will also put a link to that in the description as well. Because I need more music. I have a lot more driving to do, and it's so fun. I have like 16 or 17 collaborators on this Spotify playlist for this journey, and they're able to add music. And so check out the music that's been added, because there are some fire jams on there.
Now I have to tell you something that seems really special. So we talked about divination, right?
Yeah.
Anyone can divine. And whatever, right? Okay. There is this newer version of divination that has come on the scene in the last few years, and it is called shufflemancy. Usually you'll put word mancy behind like a root word, usually a Latin root word to mean a type of magic. Okay. Or a type of divination, right? Okay. So taromancy is tarot card using. Shufflemancy is when you like go to your music library, or you go to your playlist, your mixtape, whatever, and you prepare a question in your head. You kind of like do a little bit of like deep breathing, take a few breaths, and then you're like, okay, can I get some information, insight on this question, right? And it's a very like kind of casual way to go about it. And then you press shuffle on your playlist, and the first song that comes up usually says everything that it needs to about whatever you had a question about, or whatever you were hoping to get some confirmation or clarity about. And so it's a really interesting process. So just thinking about like, I don't know, next time you get a chance, if you're feeling brave, right? Or if y'all are feeling brave, you know, you got a question, maybe you don't have a reader around, or you whatever the situation is, go to your playlist of liked songs or saved albums on your phone, shuffle through it with your intention on your mind or your question on your mind, and what comes up, you will be surprised, because usually the lyrics are like very on point. So
you
just
heard
listen,
that.
You know?
So you're gonna be added to the playlist. Okay, so back to the
cards. Right. We had the Joker, the Fool, and I'm just like, oh, okay, this is a very freeing card. This talks about moving through the world in a way that is in a way of trusting the journey, right? And or even being on the journey at the start of a new journey. The Fool always talks about like a blank canvas kind of vibe.
I have to mention this now because this is the second time. Yesterday when you were talking about the Joker, the Fool card, the song, and you said trusting the journey, I immediately thought of a song that's on my playlist, and it's called Trust the Path.
Ooh.
It's a really cool song. And so go ahead.
No, because I mean... It checks out.
Okay.
But with the Fool card, it references just being this person who may not know everything or have everything that you feel like you may need, but you're ready to just embark. And you're going to trust that whatever you need will be provided, that you'll be in a place of receiving things as you go. And the Fool gets a bad rep for being like the Fool, because on the flip side, it's about naivety and being ignorant or ambivalent, and sometimes even apathetic, and just like kind of suffering from your own folly. Which
there could be a lot of truth to that.
You know,
I was the black sheep of the family. I was the youngest of 4, and I've always learned the hard way.
I saw someone recently, instead of using the language black sheep, which could have been easy for them to use. They're like, I like to think of myself as the colorful sheep of the family. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's, yeah.
Okay,
I'm
I was that, whatever.
glitter guts. I love it. But yeah, the full card, while it has that flip side to it, because of the context of the other cards around it, I could tell that it was more uplifting, or that lends into the interpretation of the other cards.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, it was, so that was nice. And then we got into the Queen of Spades, aka like the Queen of Swords, if you will. And I was like, she's a bit of a hard ass, but the Queen of Spades is an intellectual. She has a lot of experiences, and she's not someone that you can play with. She wants to cut through to the truth. She wants to, more than she is curious, she is investigative, right? So it makes sense, right? Yep. It's an archetype that embodies a high level of maturity and intellect. So I love that came out for you. And then when it comes to like, okay, well, what does that mean with the Joker coming up next to it? It makes me feel like you're in a place of using the lens of the Queen of Swords, or the Queen of Spades, to while you're on this journey. So it's like you're able to be present as someone who can be curious, as someone who can listen and communicate well, while also taking in new information and even leaving or sprinkling your own pieces of experience and information with people. And then the part that was kind of like, oh, was the Seven of Hearts. I was like, the Seven of Hearts isn't inherently an icky card, and the thing is that there are no.
So you've said that about all the cards I've chosen, by the way.
Okay, yeah, you know what? That's a good point. That's a good point.
You were supposed to be the person who shows up with love and compassion. Where is it?
You know, I have some clients that are like, Dionne, I love you because I know you're gonna keep it real with me, and you're gonna laugh at it. You're gonna see something that is like so crazy and out of pocket that you're just gonna like giggle. And it's not because like I'm trying to like shame or humiliate anyone, but I'm just like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. And I'll tell you that. I'll be like, damn, that's kind of fucked up.
I can take it. Go ahead.
Those cards, to me, they have a very strong presence, or these cards are very big cards to receive. Like when they come up, I know that, it's a point of tension usually, or that there's something a little rough around the edges about it. So it's not. I
do cause a lot of ripples and the waves and things.
It's important to ripple and wave, you know.
I love it.
Oh yeah, you gotta do it. Okay, same. Queen of Swords. I mean, she's kind of that girl, but there's one thing I maybe didn't say yesterday when thinking of the Queen of Swords is that she's highly misunderstood. She's highly misunderstood, and people, you can say something to them and they will take it a completely different way because they're not listening in the same way or
Please don't let me
be
misunderstood.
Okay, Nina Simone. That's like, let me tell you, me and Nina.
She's on my playlist.
All day, yes. That's a perfect person to have on your playlist. Oh,
okay, so back to the Seven of Hearts.
Back to the Seven of Hearts. Thank you for reeling it in. Look, I'll talk about it.
I can be all over the place. It's not good.
Thank you. Seven of Hearts is a card referencing like the overwhelm, the overstimulation of what paths are in front of you, or what options it is that you have. And so it's like needing to kind of like almost niche down is a good way to think of it, right? Which, you know, when it's like something is all encompassing, it can be difficult. But also the beautiful thing about the Seven of Hearts, or the Seven of Cups, is that it speaks of knowing that anything that is false, or anything that it cannot be sustained, will fall away. And so more so than you have to do the, more than you have to do the mental labor of like, this is right and this is wrong, and weigh all of the pros and cons, it's important for you to be heart-led and see what sticks. Right? This is not about forcing
yesterday
something.
I think we talked about the natural filtration process.
The natural filtration process of it all. And so the medicine there is like, not everything is going to be for you. And that's okay. Or if there's so many things that you're wanting to do and stick your hands in, there will be a time and a place for it. So it's like, maybe you can't do that now, but what are you going to do first? Right. Or what's calling to you right now with urgency and in great importance.
Compartmentalizing all the things.
It's a lot. And I was also talking about how it can feel like being a little bit in a fog, and so having to wait till the fog lifts. Sometimes it's like a bit of a headache, but it's just like, okay, we're going to get through this. This is temporary. And it's a temporary discomfort comfort for long-term satisfaction,
Okay. Yeah.
And then going into, and so when we talked about that, I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense from what we have like talked through and talked about and shared with each other. I'm like, okay, you're on a journey. You, more than you're figuring things out, you're willing and wanting to learn. You're someone who already knows so much about what you specialize in or what you know about, but that is not keeping you from being someone who is teachable, right? And it makes me feel like you are a great student of life in that way.
Totally.
And I think there is a great openness to it, and I think that there is a lot of beauty in how you are able to convey your message or share what it is that you're having to say. And then with the Seven of Hearts, it's like sometimes there's nuance, right? Separating like the gross from the sweet. It's like, but you got to go through it. It makes me think there's like a little kid nursery rhyme, and it's like they're marching through the peanut butter jelly and the.
Oh.
That's what it's making me think.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh
yeah.
man, that really brought back like
it's
a kindergarten
okay. I know.
memory.
I'm seeing the book and everything. Okay, it's okay.
But yeah. So it's like, needing to be mindful more so than being careful. Being mindful of like, okay, not everyone's gonna hear what I'm saying that way, or I'm not gonna hear them and what they're saying. So it's important to just like again listen, right, and just observe and have an open heart and have a spirit that is led with curiosity, or by curiosity. And then after that, I was like, okay, well, that's just kind of set the tone. And I'll often find in readings that when I start, whether I know you and you're one of my regulars, which, hi y'all, how you doing? Good to see you.
If you are a regular, drop a message in the comments and just shout out.
Drop a message in the comments, send me a text to me like, girl, I just saw you. I love y'all so much. Y'all are amazing. Y'all uplift me to be able to do this work. But what I was going to say is whether you're regular or new, usually the first few cards that come out just kind of set the tone of what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the reading. Yeah. Or it lays a foundation for us to build on top of, right? Okay. It's not so much I want to find out everything in the first 5 minutes, but it's just like, okay, well, this is where we're starting. Yeah. Because there's so much more to like uncover, to be revealed. And so I asked you to, pick another card. I was like, let's spice it up. And you picked the Three of Clubs, and I was like, oh.
And she did it again. She's like, oh.
No, this isn't a bad. This is a good one. This is one of relief, because the Three of Clubs is such like a adventurer kind of card. It's a very, very optimistic card. And so knowing that there is that energy of the fog, right, that laid the context of what you've been moving through or navigating. The Three of Wands is a card that's like, well, I know that if I stay positive or that I stick with my truth, that even if things go wrong, I can make them go right. Right? Okay. Or it's being adaptable. It's knowing that even if you don't have all of the tools that you could have wished and hoped for, you're using what it is that you have. And sometimes what you have is not a physical material resource. Sometimes it's the grit. Sometimes it's the will, right? Sometimes it's the creativity.
If you just heard all of this, you really need to get my book, Daughter of Many Tribes, A Sacred Earth Journey, and you will understand just how very spot on all of this was. She doesn't even know anything about the book because we just met.
Right, we just met.
So you need to get the book and read it and then come back and leave in the comments if you think this was spot on or not. Okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say with the right, I was just like listening. I was like, anytime I'm listening, I'm probably like looking away because I'm like using my ears.
I do the same thing.
Am I making too much eye contact? Am I listening or am I like? What am I actually thinking of?
You got stuff in your nose.
But the Three of Wands is so. It's a beautiful card to receive. It talks about looking onward the horizon. I also mentioned how it kind of paralleled the imagery of the Fool, because the Fool is kind of on this cliff. You don't know if it's a high cliff, a low cliff, but you know he's going to take this jump. And the thing about the Three of Wands or the Three of Clubs is that usually there's a person and they're on this cliff and they're looking out at this beautiful sunset or sunrise, and they're just kind of like happy to be there. They're happy to be there. And I think that's really beautiful, especially if you're on a journey. And so what I'm going to do is kind of surprise you and be like, pick another card.
Oh, snap.
Okay. And then we can close out.
Jack of Diamonds.
Jack of Diamonds. Oh, I like that. Jack of Diamonds. That's a good one because slow and steady wins the race. The Jack of Diamonds talks about how the rhythm or the pace will arrive. It's about keeping the path clear. Before you and also the path behind you, right?
Okay.
Or like kind of staying or getting into a place of being organized. But also it's about how important it is to remain grounded in the work. And when I say slow and steady wins the race, it's not the slowest moving card in the deck, but it's a card that says respect your own pacing or respect your own timing or the divine timing of something, right? So it's like you're going to get wherever you have to get when you're going to get there. And not just that, it's like when it comes to, will you feel secure financially? Will you feel like you can show up authentically? All of that, it's an excellent card to receive. It's a card that says that I can be true to this and new to this all at the same time, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, get the book, Daughter of Many Tribes, A Sacred Earth Journey. You can get it at sacredearthjourney.com. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com, all the places. But yeah, 100%. That's pretty good. That's really cool.
Thank you. I do what I can. Yeah.
So if somebody wants to learn more about you, where do they go?
First best place to go is DionneTheDivine.com. That's where you can book a session with me and we can connect directly. Of course, I have my social media accounts. I am on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all under Dionne
and you're going to get me all of those links. I'll put those in the
all
description.
Of those links. Yep. Yes, indeed. Yep. And also, if you're in New Orleans in person right now at this time, I am here 2 days a week. I do tea leaf readings primarily and tarot card readings. Or I say tarot card. I use all kind of cards. I use playing cards, tarot cards, oracle cards. Whatever I got in my bag is what we're going to use that day. And that's where you can get anywhere from like a 15-minute to 30-minute session in person. You can reserve that also on my website. But one thing I do love and what helps me connect with people, whether I met them in New Orleans or they live somewhere else, whatever, and they were just visiting, I do virtual sessions through Zoom. And so virtual sessions, they go up to like an hour or so. But I have short ones too, and it's really amazing.
Do you want to give an offer of anything if they saw this particular video? No pressure.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. Because I'm like, I'd love to encourage folks to like, stick around. Let's use the code Sacred Earth Journey for 15% off.
Okay.
And that will be on all of my services. So whether it is in person, if you're in New Orleans, or if it's on a virtual service, you can redeem that. And it's going to be Sacred Earth Journey somewhere right here in the video.
It's gonna show up. It's gonna be right there.
Right there.
You're so good at this.
I'm like, I need to do it more. So that's another thing. I'm in this journey right now. I actually just joined this challenge called the Unshrinking Challenge, and it started yesterday. You didn't know this, but it was about just showing up and putting yourself out there.
That's
so even though yesterday was not the perfect circumstances, I was like,
it was the perfect circumstance.
You're right. They were
showed
perfect.
Up exactly.
We did do it, and I was ready to accept it as it was. So I was like, wait, let me sit.
Yeah. They're good.
But yeah, and so it's beautiful because over the course of the next 30 days, I'm just going to be experimenting with posting content. Good, bad, ugly, and just be proud of myself for doing it because I am someone who has like what you could call a visibility wound or the fear of being seen, right?
Sure, yeah.
But with the work that I do, it's important that I'm seen and it's important that I share the medicine that I have to offer, right? For the people who are able and willing to receive it. Yeah. So, I got chills saying that. Oh, that was very special.
I just want to say too, because I just want to encourage everyone. Be comfortable and confident in who you are. Like, I'm not always feeling 100% or whatever. I don't always feel like I'm looking 100% or whatever. Like I arrived in Louisiana, my hair immediately started growing like a chia pet because of the humidity. Okay,
The humidity is my favorite. Look, I'm a dry skin girl, so the humidity makes
it's like a bittersweet relationship, right? But I just really want to encourage you that, like, we're all human. Just like I'm very big here through Sacred Earth Journey. Like, let's show up organically, human, natural. Like, this is who we are. You know, it was just like yesterday when you showed up with your baby girl. I'm very big. Look, like, again, let's just be. We are who we are, and we're here, and we're in the moment. Things are not always going to be perfect. Things are actually never going to be perfect, and so let's just boost each other. Let's, promote each other, and let's celebrate one another, where we are, where we're at, and how we're going through things. It's all beautiful, right?
Yeah. I would say, honestly, when it comes to like the etiquette of how I read or how I sit with people in these psychic consultations or spiritual advising sessions, I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to meet you where you are.
Yeah.
And as long as we can be respectful, open, honest, listen, I think whatever needs to be received is not I think, but I know whatever needs to be received is going to come out. And it's doing so with an open heart and open mind. And doing it organically. It's not supposed to be perfect. I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, this. It's not, that's not how life is.
We just really need to show up for one another as humans with so much more curiosity, respect, dignity, and mutual compassion and things like this. So, Dionne, it has been incredible to meet you in person, and to just, embrace your energy and just your personality and all that you have to offer this earth and
Thank
humanity.
You. I needed to hear that.
Absolutely. It's been so fun. I'm so just intrigued, and like I feel blessed to have witnessed you as a mother yesterday, the way you show up for your daughter. I think you're doing a tremendous job. You're doing a great job. So just thank you for being willing to show up and be a part of this Sacred Earth journey, where we travel the world unfiltered, where strangers become tribe, and where global peace begins at kitchen tables. Join the journey, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.
Ciao.